Officially Fenner with your hosts, Robin and Rudy, a podcast about family where we live, love, and laugh along the way.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the first Officially Fenner podcast of 2025. It's been a minute since we did this, and listen, before we get started, I know this will put us in a time box in terms of sometimes you like to be able to play things and not put a time marker out, but I want to not worry and dispense with that. Our absolute hearts and attention over the last few days have been with the incredibly awful fires that have been going on in the California area. Our we loved California before, and we intensified that affection as our granddaughter attends the university out there, USC. We have been paying close attention. I have apps. I have warnings. I have all
Maps.
sorts of maps, and we have been way into this, and I'm sure we will do what we can to support the efforts in recovery of lives and homes and everything that's going out there and supporting the Red Cross and everybody's doing all of the things that they do to help bring that back to life. So we want to start with saying that we try really hard to be people that just don't say we'll be praying for you, and when we end that sentence there's a period and we never do anything else. So it's a prayer, but the prayer has to have feet, hands and feet. So we will do that. We will be sending my girl back over, and so we will be emotionally and all sorts of leads attached to that area and that region, and we are not just praying for the best, but doing whatever we can do to help restore and resurrect everything that has been lost. So that is first and foremost on our minds.
We also have friends and family out there, so we're thinking of them as well as Milani. So we are in touch with them, and so far, thankfully, no one has suffered a loss.
Yes.
Everyone is still healthy. No one's had to evacuate. They still have their homes, so we're very thankful for that. And as he said, we are supporting in the way that we find we can at this moment. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So podcast. We are back, and we are back for real. We have some clarity. We have survived, and we're gonna try to kick a little butt.
Yeah. Sometimes life just takes turns, and you just get busy. You get busy living it rather than talking about it.
Yeah,
so
I did a social.
I think it's kind of happened.
I did a social media post, and I said this, and it really is true. Our lives have been like everybody else, like many other people's, has been pretty amazing. We went from, in our cases, we went from COVID to cancer recovery, and in 2024 rather, it was just kind of like, what was that?
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster.
And we spent the whole year kind of like, you would almost say we were still, but it wasn't being still. It was just holding onto the rope and just maintaining where we were. And at the end of the year, I was kind of overtaken by this whole thought of, okay, we go back and reclaim the pyramids. We go back and get our stuff. And God is, the faith that we have is one that he has, almost everything that I've seen in the Bible that I follow always has an action. There's an action involved in it. You just don't sit and the goodness of life just floats in and you just happen to just inhale it. There are actions. There was a roll away the stone. There was put the mud on your eyes. There was all sorts of things that happened biblically before God did what he did. So we believe that action is required. And by golly, 2025 is going to be some action.
That's right. And you know what? For anyone new who's listening, who hasn't, who just kind of stumbled into it or heard about it and hasn't joined us before.
What in the world?
Yeah, who are these people? I'm Robin and Fenner, and this was my husband, Rudy. We are Northern Virginia residents. We have been married for 45 years, which we celebrated during the past year. And we are the parents of three adults. I say three adult children, but three adults. Yeah, three daughters. We have a set of twins, and they all live nearby, so we're all always together. In fact, we actually have a 3-generational household.
We do.
So one of my daughters and her family lives with us. we really enjoy having them here. People, that's a very interesting.
We love it. We
love it. Yeah,
thrive on it. We think
we
it
do.
is life, the ultimate life.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. I mean, there are a lot of parents and a lot of families who go through this, kind of situation, live in this kind of situation. And so we talk about that a little bit. And we have another daughter who's not too far away with her 2 kids, and then another one who's single. She's not far away either, in a few miles away.
Fabulous.
So we have that. What else do you want to say? So Rudy works full time. He's out of the house every day, and I left, as they say, the corporate world. And I am a consultant, but I also work on a number of other projects. So it's really a lot of fun, and I learn a lot and love being able to use what I learned in a corporate environment in this situation, and then also learn something new. So
yeah, and the motivation for this podcast is we, and I think it started as our opinion, but it was our opinion based on things that other people say. We are incredibly blessed. We are unusual people. We are not we. I never am allowed to speak of her age. I am a middle 66-year-old man who is incredibly gifted, who is a 5K runner, everyday worker, busy in all sorts of places. So when I grew up, 66 years old was almost always somebody that was retired. And unfortunately, in many cases, many people that I knew, men, did not live long beyond that age. So I've been incredibly blessed, and I'm in a unique position. I am one of the first people in my realm who has been a cancer survivor of a severe level of cancer. So there's a lot of new things, first-timer things that I'm experiencing, that we're experiencing, that I think resulted in the words agility and transformative. And I believe that some of those experiences we had fall into those categories. And we believe that in sharing our story and keeping, again, with a biblical pattern, is almost like testimonials and testifying as to what has happened and how it happened, and sharing those things with everybody. And I'm trying to be more intentional. I am a good strong running 5K participant. Well, it is of no value if I tell no one how I did that, if I share no one those experiences, and if I do not share with you the benefits of being able to run a 5K. Because it ain't just about being cute and showing off your legs. There's things that happen in all kinds of health challenges that having the lung capacity for 5K comes in pretty handy. That having a heart that can handle a 5K comes in pretty handy. So it's not just the stuff around it. It's some real life application to it, and that's why we do what we do. I have heard for many times and many occasions people speak negatively about having their kids live with them in different situations. And that's why we so adamantly speak of the joy of having our kids live with us, and understanding that we think many of us have been duped into believing that we kick the kids out and we become these downsized. It's fine if you want to do that, but that is not a life requirement. And we have found incredible joy in having a 3-year-old running past me making noise, a 10-year-old who's got to study for a math test tomorrow. At 66 years old, I have found tremendous joy in being connected to that part of life. So we believe that for some, not for all, I understand that, but for some, it can speak to being agile and accepting what life gives and being able to flex and to move and to adjust to it. And we do believe that these experiences can be transformative. I'm convinced that Robin is a younger version of herself because she deals with young people all day long.
Actually, it's quite intentional. I love surrounding myself with younger people. And I learn from them. I keep up with what's happening with them. I'm engaged in new technological developments.
Oh my goodness.
There's so much to embrace by having young people of all ages in your life.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love having the kids here. I look at them sometimes, it's toys, it's trucks, and I say, you know what? If I didn't have them here, these toys and trucks wouldn't be here. That means they wouldn't be here. And this is a small time in life, a small period, because life goes by so fast. And if you can appreciate those moments,
absolutely,
that you have to spend with your kids and other people as well. I'm not saying all young people, your friends are your age, they're your friends too, of course.
Correct.
But the time you get to spend with people is
It's
the most valuable.
A joy.
It's the most valuable.
I
You
got
can't recover
excited.
it.
I got excited when you said that because I thought about I'm gonna just cheat real quick and tell you we are way going into AI in 2025. I want to recap what
I don't
we
want
did
to
in
scare you
2024.
though. Hold
I
on,
know,
don't scare anybody with that. We
but-
get to
but I don't-
temper how we're doing it.
I don't mind. I don't mind you being a little scared. I'll help you to not be scared. But what we're excited about is in 2025, our podcast, our post, everything that we're doing is to try to create tools to create a foundation that is an agile foundation and a transformative foundation. That it would be great at the end of 2025, we're all a little bit better.
Right.
That we have found ways to be better through discipline, through education, and that includes things like AI. And we found some incredible partners that we are going to just do as much as we can to help all generations understand the incredible access that we have to us, available to us. So we'll talk about that. And like I said, but I'm cheating. You want to recap? You had a note on here. You just talked about a 2024 recap. You want to talk about what we did?
Well, I thought that was kind of interesting because that's
you're
why
right.
we were so busy last
You're right,
year.
you're right,
So,
you're right.
okay, so I spent actually about half a year, about 6 months last year, working on a health fair
Tremendous.
that was sponsored by our church, Crossroads United Methodist in Ashburn. And it was the first time I think that we had done something like that.
Yes.
And it was the health fair kind of was born out of a spark that Rudy had, after his initial cancer treatment,
Right.
to start a health and wellness ministry. So we
Yes.
did that, and we had some, smaller sessions and some speakers and that sort of thing. And it evolved to the point where we decided, hey, let's do something larger for the community. And we had, a few hundred people there. We had speakers. We had some wonderful doctors. We had some healthcare facilities. We had medical professionals. We had people who were involved in physical fitness. I just can't remember every category of folks that we had. Our brother-in-law, Darrell Green, was the guest speaker, and he really talked not so much about sports, but about his own health journey.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting to have him share.
Yeah.
We had breakout sessions on healthy eating. We had sessions on mindfulness.
Yep.
Because, being healthy is not just the physical side, it's also mental, it's also spiritual. So there were a lot of components that we included in that day. And we had food trucks and we had stuff for the kids. It was like a real full day. So it took a bit of time and effort to put that together. And I spent a lot of time doing that.
You killed it.
Absolutely
Absolutely killed it.
Along with help. I had help from other folks.
killed it.
So, but it was kind of our thought to try to pull that together.
And
we did that,
it is one of those examples. There's a bunch of quotes that are out there on this, but it was taking something that was a dark, painful thing and turning it into a gift, because that incredible, for me, being diagnosed with cancer was one of the worst things that's ever happened to me. But we took that, we were able, with God's help, to overcome it and then use it to educate others and to begin to create a platform. And from that, what that birthed was a health and wellness ministry at the church, which resulted in the health and wellness fair, which has resulted in a health and wellness component being actually built in the church. I am hoping to be an absolute pain to people all around to raise an awareness of what we can do, because we don't have to be passive. We can take active, proactive positions in terms of screening, testings. I want to do everything I can to encourage everybody to eliminate all fear of the medical profession, because there are good people that can do some amazing things if given time. And that's what a lot of this push is about. And we'll continue to be a part of that. There's one or two health journeys that I believe I'll be involved in this year that I want to do a deep dive and drag people along with the process. Some may not want to hear it, but there might be 2 or 3 people who benefit from it. So we're going to do it, and we're going to do some podcasts with some things. there are all sorts of things from heart issues to lung issues to still maybe COVID issues to cancer issues, that when we can bring something to the table to help with that, we're doing it.
Exactly.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
And so, so that was I think you also had on your note, I'm sorry to go back to your recap, you talked about family stuff, the family room.
Well, actually, you know what? We speak a lot about your family because they're here and we see them very often. And
Yes.
we can literally walk to their houses in many
All the
cases.
time.
But I have family in the region too.
Yep.
I was brought up in D.C. and I have family still in D.C. and in Maryland. But it feels like it's so far sometimes when you drive to some of these places. It's like just because of traffic
Ain't
and all
that
that.
crazy?
So we don't get together that often, but we've been a little bit better about doing it. So I was able to spend some time with them a couple of times in the last year.
So much
a
fun.
group. You know, we'll get together
I
for
love
lunch
those
or
guys.
dinner
Love
or whatever, and they're such sweet and wonderful people, and we're connecting in a different way, and doing more texting and emailing and all this other kind of stuff that we haven't done in a while, because it's not just that we're busy, they're busy too. So anyway, so that was really nice to connect with. It was really my dad's side.
Yeah. That was
So
fun.
done that. So
Good people.
did that, and like you said, we then had a house project. I love house projects. There's nothing better to me than to walk into Home Depot or Lowe's and smell cut lumber. That means there's a project happening somewhere. And I think they must spray that because you will smell it as soon as you walk in. But anyway, I love doing things around the home. So we did redo our family room, and it's I think we may have posted some things about that maybe on Instagram or something. But we took it from a more traditional kind of look to something that's more contemporary and more modern.
So much fun.
And that suits us, So,
So much fun.
we closed up our fireplace.
But more importantly, it suits 3-year-old Finley.
Well, it suits the whole family better, and I think everyone
that's too
enjoys
funny.
it, And it's so funny because kids always say, "Oh, you're changing something. Don't change it."
They hate it.
And then they
And
love
then
it.
they love it.
You can't get them out.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
anyway, so that was fun.
One other thing we're gonna do, I've not really posted on social media about this a lot. I have to find a way to do a deep dive about the jersey retirement for Darrell.
Oh.
And we may even do a podcast where we bring him in and bring Jared in and talk about it, because that's incredible stuff. It was awesome. Robin and I have.
So he jumps in the conversations
I'm
without
sorry.
introducing them.
I'm sorry.
So Darrell Green
Got
who
excited.
played football for 20 years.
Yeah.
With what's now the Washington Commanders.
The Redskins originally.
Yeah, okay, but the Commanders.
Yep.
Is my brother-in-law, and gosh, we've known him. I met him before the twins were born. I can't believe it.
So nuts.
I can't
so
believe
nuts.
it. We've
That's
known him
right.
for over 40 years.
Well,
Oh my
yes.
gosh.
Yeah.
But anyway, so his jersey, he's an outstanding human. He's a wonderful relative. He's just a person.
Man of God.
Yes, and a wonderful family member. And if you met him, you wouldn't even necessarily know that's what he had done, because he's
Actually,
not,
the children don't know. They were just introduced to that version of him a couple of months ago. They still are shocked by all of that.
He's so incredibly humble and gives back so much to the community.
Yeah.
And we're really just proud to have him in our family.
Yeah, and we'll do. I
Yeah,
think,
so-
I think
Yeah.
it's worth doing a whole podcast between historically what he's done, what happened with the jersey retirement, and moving forward with the Christmas party and all of that stuff that we do. I think that's enough energy that we should cover. We would cover that. We could cover that for.
So he's
a
jumping
whole
in again.
time.
So because
Sorry.
he was such a stellar player, they retired his jersey.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes.
They retired his football jersey, which is a big deal.
It's
Okay.
only 2 or 3 of them that's retired. Yeah.
So yeah, so it was
to
a
talk about
big
that.
celebration.
Huge.
That it was a wonderful surprise. They surprised. He didn't even know that was happening. And the Commanders are actually our experience with them they've been a stellar organization.
Amazing people.
And yeah, great people. And the way they had him do it is they brought him to the park.
Yeah.
Had him read a script for something else, because
Right.
it was the weekend. The weekend. What weekend was it? It was
Was it?
it was in Detroit, right?
Yeah.
What weekend was it? Anyway?
I'm sorry. I'm
Okay,
forgetting
the draft,
all
the
of
draft,
that.
the draft,
Yes.
the NFL draft. Duh, how did we forget that? Anyway, so the draft weekend, they have him come out to read. He's reading something for the draft. He's reading, and before he knows it, he's reading his own retirement announcement, and he doesn't know they're filming it. It was just like tears. It was just like, oh my gosh, it was beautiful. Anyway, so that happened. So
Yeah.
it was a year-long
Yeah,
march
it was
to the jersey retirement that
great,
happened
great
in October.
stuff. Great.
So all year long, there were events and activities and that kind of thing, and so we had the pleasure of being invited to celebrate.
Yeah,
And all that.
we need
So,
to cover that. That's we're not gonna sweep under that. We're okay to be happy and joyful and celebrate that.
I just want to set the story up right.
Yeah, I'm just diving all in. That's the way I do. So sorry.
All right.
All right. So I guess is the thing. What's next?
Well, the other part of the year, well, actually, before the year started, I was actually doing some client work for, believe it or not, it's the company Rudy works for. But the person who owns it has been more. I guess he started off really as a family friend because you all were friends,
My man.
and you started working for him.
Been my man before
And-
we worked
and
together.
then-
Before I worked for him, I worked with him. He's been my man forever. Another part of that, keep young people around you.
Yeah. He's a terrific person, and we were talking one day, I guess, and I learned that he was looking for some help in terms of business development that I had some exposure to in my former life. I said, I can help you out with that a little bit. So we started doing that. And before you knew it, it's kind of segued into some other assignments.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's been, 2 years. I can't believe it's gone by that fast that I've been doing work for
I
them.
didn't realize that.
I know. Yeah. And so I've been doing some other things that have been very, very interesting and completely out of my wheelhouse in terms of the details of how it all works. But again, I've had management experience in my prior life and over a number of areas.
Managing,
So
AKA herding cats.
I did more than herding cats, darling.
Cat herding.
But it wasn't herding cats. If you want to call 50 people cats, but no, it wasn't that. But anyway, no. I really worked with a wonderful group of people, and I really enjoyed it. It was just a time to make a change at the time, but I do miss many of them, and we stay in touch as much as we can. So but having that background and being able to apply some things from that to what I do now with him has been really awesome. So I think we get along really well, and I enjoy what I do, and it gives me purpose every morning.
Keeps you stimulated, moving, grooving.
Okay, so that's how the last year was, and just one thing after the other,
crazy.
boom, boom, boom. And sometimes you look at social media and this and that, and you can post all the time, like I guess maybe some people have time to do. Or you can kind of live life. So we like to live life and then share it as we go along as much as we can. So that's what we're doing. And so now here we are at the beginning of 2025.
Here we go.
And
We're going in.
Yeah. So I told you a little bit about us, who we are. And we started this podcast actually in 2020 during COVID because we were both stuck in the house and we were trying to figure out something to do. And our son-in-law, David, who's the producer of this, said, you all should do a podcast. He listens to our conversations around the house. He says, you should really do this. And because he's like a sound engineer and can do all these wonderful things, he set it all up. And now we've been doing this podcast. It started out about health and fitness because we were learning at the time with regard to COVID, and now we know with everything else, how much being healthy and fit can help you if you had that illness. And so there were a lot of things we were trying to encourage people to try to do. They were working from home and that sort of thing. We wanted them to be the best they could be, especially before the vaccines came out. We were trying to do a lot of things in that area. But and because we were relying on your fitness background and my growing fitness background at the time to kind of share the information.
It's been fabulous.
Yeah. So then we decided to call it officially Fenner. We were just kind of doing this as something else. We said, okay, it's officially Fenner.
That's right.
And we kind of segued into other topics about life. It always kind of comes back to health and fitness because, like I said, this is something that he does, and I've come to learn so much more about and apply to my life in a different way. So I think
it's an inescapable thing. I think health and fitness is inescapable because it's required. It's a requirement. And so I think we have fortunately at times stumbled into information, stumbled into experiences. You're 50 pounds lighter. 70 pounds lighter. And that was unintentional. You didn't set out to do that.
No, and it was a journey for me. That's the thing. Because you've been working out since the kids were born. Okay, so that's 40-something years. You even before then, probably. But for me, that was kind of like not my thing.
No.
And I didn't, 40 years ago, we weren't talking about it the same way we're talking about it now.
No.
But I have learned along the way that, that's definitely a better way to to live and that sort of thing. So it's a working out thing. It's also, like I said, it's a mental health thing, and there's eating well. It's all those components that kind of help you make you a healthier person. And that's what we're really talking about, is kind of health and wellness. And so
Yeah,
you know,
and what I really hope to do this year is to reveal a little more of you.
Oh, yeah.
Because in terms of fitness, I'm always in that, and I'm a dominant, loud mouth, short person who is always trying to squeeze into and push people out of the way, because the perception with a lot of us smaller people is that we don't get a say, and so we've learned to just push in and make it happen. But your health and fitness experiences and results have been underplayed, and that's enough of that. We need to make more people aware of that, because you're in better shape now than you were when you were in your 30s. I know that because I was with you. You're doing things now, fitness-wise and physically. Your lung capacity, your muscle definition, all of that was not in your 30s.
That's true, but here's the thing. I think that what we want to make sure everybody knows is that, yes, we're sharing what we did, but we're sharing it because we want to help everyone else be able to be their best. You might not be like person A, B, C, or D, but we want you to be your best.
But I think I think it's amazing, because I think people can do what you've done.
Right.
Can do what I've done. And that's what we want to do, is erase this. We're not some incredibly gifted athletes. That's Darrell. We're not in that group. We have learned. I've run with him, and we are not built the same.
Yeah.
So we are regular working folk who have figured out ways to weave this critical component into lives, and we believe we can help people find ways to do it as well. I think you had the health and fitness, you had the eating well.
Yep. We eating well. We talked about relationships. We talked about family and home and all this other pop culture. That was a fun one. So we did all that.
Yep.
Right before.
Yep.
So now, as we were thinking toward, as we plan for this year and to kind of start this season, what we said we wanted to do was try to kind of encapsulate that into a brand, and really be intentional, I guess.
Yeah.
About kind of embracing where we are. I have been slower to embrace the age that Rudy says that he is for myself. Yeah. But you get the drift. But actually,
to be so careful here.
But actually, what we want to do is bring together the things that will help all of us.
Yeah.
That means you too.
Yeah.
Listening.
Yeah.
Together to live our best lives.
Yeah, because I said to somebody just the other day, I posted today a post about working out in these snowy, cold conditions. Getting to and accessing gyms becomes difficult. Working out, running outside is virtually impossible. So what can you do? Well, and I made a post about a digital jump rope, which is a $20 jump rope that isn't a full rope that you can do in a hallway in an apartment, a small efficiency apartment. You don't have to have a lot of room. So
it's not really a rope, right?
Correct.
It's just the handles of a rope.
Correct, that are weighted, but the work is the same. So I want to try to help us all eliminate excuses, and that's something that I've been incredibly blessed and fortunate to do, is eliminate excuses that I use for me. And we want to continue to advance that language and communicate that out to everybody, that there are options and things that we can do that don't require thousands of dollars, that don't require much money at all. It's just a becoming determined to accomplish these things. And also, again, we're going back to taking that kind of information and weaving it into the AI web. And helping us to be smarter. And how do we find out this information, perhaps? What can we do to enhance what we know to be better at it? Because the AI thing is all around us. Let's use this thing and get the most out of it.
Yeah, that's the thing about AI, because I know there's a lot of controversy and people have different opinions about it. But from what I have been able to learn, AI is like having a car. It's here to stay. It's like going from a horse and buggy or something to new technology.
Yeah.
And the thing is that there are things about it that I like and things about it that I don't like, to be completely honest.
Yep.
But if you find the ways to make humanity better and to make your lives better, and you kind of pick and choose those kinds of things, if you have some reluctance about it, then I think you might see how it can be helpful.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you guys did it. Just a real quick, real quick example. You worked with Milani on her diet.
Yeah,
You
that was
talked
really
about
great.
a diet. You came up with some search words, threw them into AI, and it came out and helped her begin to develop a plan.
A food plan,
A
yeah.
food plan.
Right.
Which for a college student is just like, oh, that's like manna from heaven. And she really used it, and it really benefited her tremendously. Well, we
Yeah.
want to make that sort of thing available to everybody that's listening and following, and we'll over time we'll create some options for everybody to connect with us through email addresses and all that stuff, and allow us to send information and provide information that helps grow in this knowledge and understanding of how to exploit this stuff and make it work. So it's out there. We just got to take advantage of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, that was a great, really good use of that.
Yeah.
Making those kinds of changes is not always the easiest thing, and I know that because
Yep.
I'm not always really fast to make a lot of changes. But so we're going to do it at a pace that kind of makes sense for everybody.
Yeah,
because
we think it can be good. We think it can be beneficial. And again,
Yeah.
at the end of the year, we all look at something areas and like, oh, I got better at that. Hey, two other things that I didn't even. So this is a very unrehearsed, off the map thing I'm getting ready to say right now.
We never rehearse.
This is so much fun with her.
We never rehearse. It's like I do the outline and like here it is.
So two things that I'm hoping that we can add to our podcast conversations during the course of the year. I have a book that I'm absolutely fascinated by. It's called Watching New York. It is one of the coolest pieces of reading that I've ever touched. What I love about it, New York is a lot of things, but I have never seen a more fashion-free community than New York. When you reach 40, 50, definitely 60 and 70, how you dress begins to be a bit of a challenge.
Not for some people I know.
I know, but it isn't a challenge for some, but everybody cares. Because let me tell you something, I wrote something down and it has become a part of my life. My man, Dapper Dan in New York is a fascinating character who, if you know anything about fashion, has been very prominent in New York culture and fashion in general for a while. He made a statement that just stuck with me. He talked about the transformative power of fashion. And let me tell you something. From 10 to 100, there is nothing like seeing a person that feels good about how they look.
Yes.
And I don't want that to be I don't want to dismiss that as we grow older. And as I talk to my counterparts in their 60s, I want us to still feel good about how we look. And I think there's some things that I frequently am asked about what I wear. Honestly, that's not true. I'm asked about what I wear almost every week. That's a constant thing because I care maybe a little too much.
That's another conversation.
But I care. But it's something that I want us to talk about from time to time about fashion. Yeah. And I let me just tell you something. I think we're at a point now where 70% of Robin's wardrobe I bought. I buy a lot of her clothes, and I urge her shoe stash. I just re-upped her shoe stash, and I like a lot of things that I believe she can wear that she doesn't think she can wear it. That when she puts it on, it's like, oh, I can wear that. Like I knew it all the time. So I want to, so I'm not just talking about men's clothes. I think there's a lot of women's wear and a lot of women's fashions. I'd love to get into that and talk about it a little more. Bring our daughter Kelly in, who's a fashion professional, and just talk about that and work with folks and staying alive in that area because I think that means a lot. The other thing.
So he thinks he's my Law Roach.
I know I am.
Well, let's see what he has to say about that. If he is, then I'm Zendaya. Okay.
I know I am. We'll see over time.
Go right ahead.
But anyway, and the
Well,
last
you
thing,
can keep shopping. Okay.
the last thing that I want to make sure we talk about this year, we're going to talk about. Robin and I always talk about this, and we've never revealed this publicly, and we're going to really do some deep dives this year. We have a part of our lives that we call a rock and soul era. Robin and I had about 3 years of our lives where we lived with a lot of entertainment celebrities. This was pre-Commanders, pre-Darrell, all that stuff. where we've had conversations and interactions with people that we've grown up around, that many people who are listening know and love. And we're going to start telling some of those stories, because we haven't done that. We haven't told our Michael Jackson story. We haven't told the Lionel Richie story. I've got a John Prine story. I've got a Bruce Springsteen story. There's a lot of stories and a lot of things that have happened in our lives that we've never shared before.
Man, I just told an Isaac Hayes story on the family chat.
Right, and I told somebody that. I was telling them, as a matter of fact, I said, Robin needs to tell an Isaac Hayes story. So we want to talk about that. These people have been paramount in our lives. They've been markers in different aspects and different periods that we need to talk about, and we need to bring that out. And I'm sure that you guys listening may have some as well that we would love to share your stories as well.
It'd be great to hear from you.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
we have one or two people that I want to
awesome.
try to reach back to, who were part of my life during that time, that I want to share and bring that stuff back to life, because we just lost Frankie Beverly. There's some things that Frankie's music means that we're almost unable to articulate what that means. With so many other musicians and people. So we want to bring that back. So the rock and soul era, the fashion component, the fashion segment, those are all segments that we want to add to our conversations moving forward in 2025.
Yeah. So we're expanding. We're expanding all the things we've been talking about.
Yeah, man.
But I think it all kind of falls still into that. It's still targeted to, I just say the name of what we're going to become is a company known as Agile Always.
Yes, sir.
And now, if you're listening to this, you're the first to know. We don't have a website set up yet, but we are in the process of taking care of all that. And you, again, will be the first to know as soon as it's available, and you'll be able to follow up on some things and reach out to us and contact. We'll have so much stuff. We'll have great places for you to join us on social media and then hear from us directly. And we're expanding all of our communications channels. And so I'm really excited about that.
Yes.
I'm really busy working on that right now, which is like, wow. But it's fun and it's fulfilling. It's fascinating. And so we're going to be sharing all of that through this. We're also going to have some interactive activities. We're hoping to have some in-person activities so we can meet you and bring people together.
Hey,
that's the thing,
COVID
bring
is
people together.
further behind us.
Yes.
And we're getting out. We got to get out. We need to hang out with you. We need to meet with you. We need to just break some bread and do all of that good stuff.
We want to bring people together and then really form community. Because when you do that, oh my gosh, you can support each other so much.
Yeah.
Meet new people, find out the things that you have in common.
That's right.
Right? And hopefully this is the thing that helps to bring people together that you have in common.
We're doing this, a lot of it is we're around people who inspire us.
Yes.
They make us better. They challenge us. It's kind of like, I may not say anything to you, but I'm just tell you, guys, I'm not going to front. When you come in front of me and you have some shoes that I really like, I'm not necessarily going to tell you, but I'm shoe shopping as soon as you're out of my radar. When you do things for your wife that I realize the smile and how her heart is moved by it, you move me to do things. And so that's the community that Robin is talking about, that we want to create, that we are inspiring each other to create those smiles and to create that joy as much as humanly possible. Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know if there's probably more detail to it that's going to evolve as we go along. I don't know if I have everything I can say today or share today, but that will at least give you an idea of what we are looking at doing in 2025. We're actually planning on it, working on it, and I'm going to speak it into being.
Excited.
Yes. So you will see this as you go along. Please make sure you follow, share with your friends, because I'm hoping that they will like this too.
Absolutely.
So do that. Follow us on Instagram. We're still officially Fenner there and everywhere else for now. So please be sure to like us, to follow, and all that kind of stuff. All right. That's it. We're almost ready to wind up.
That's a wrap.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, do you have any New Year's resolutions? We didn't even talk about this, so I don't even know if he does or not.
No, I don't. It's so much that I'm doing. It's like the resolution is, I want to. No, I don't have it. I don't have a list. I don't have anything like that. How about you?
Well, I don't make a lot of resolutions because I only like to make promises that I know I can keep.
Wow.
So
I think it was an Isaac Hayes lyric.
I'm not sure about that, but here's what I do know. Well, they're kind of two things, but they're kind of related. So I'm in 2 book clubs. And in one book club, we had a white elephant party this year. And
Fun.
I received the most beautiful journal. I love journals. I love writing journals. I keep the journals that I write in. I might make all sorts of notes in my journals, but I love being able to go back and refer to whatever it was I was writing about. It might be about something I was doing, or it might be a list of things I had that I want to do. Whatever it is, I love journals. So I'm going to use this new journal. It's really lovely. And I'm going to try to start remembering things I'm grateful for. Because when you want to write them down, it's always nice to go back, or good things that happened. It's always nice to go back and reflect on that. So I'm going to encourage you to find a gratitude journal in some way. And if it's not a book, maybe it's on your phone, wherever you might find, and just do that, because I think it can make us feel better on days when we don't feel maybe the best. That's one thing.
That's cool.
Here's some good things here, and I've heard that about gratitude journals, so I'm going to share that part.
Okay.
And the other thing I'm going to try to do is, here's one thing I try to do anyway, in terms of like comments on like social media and things. And I was inspired by it a little bit more when I saw something on LinkedIn not too long ago. And that is when I make comments about people or about things that I see, I try to find something funny or something that's positive. I see so much right now that's not so much that. And, hey, it takes too much time to write all that crap. So just being kind in what we say, being kind in what we do, being kind in what we write, as much as we can. Just making that effort.
Those are good. Those are good.
And that's all I can promise you.
Whoa. I'm glad about that.
But I like to make promises that I can keep, or say that when I say I'm going to do something, I try to do it. Even if at the last minute I don't feel like doing it, I will do it because I told you I will. Now, if I didn't tell you I will, that's a whole different thing. But that's how I am, and that's my truth.
Got it.
All right.
Okay.
So please share this.
Yeah.
Always, and we will be in touch. We are so appreciative of having the audience that we do, having you with us, and we look forward to having you with us even more.
2025, we're taking it, baby.
2025.
Go.
All right. Thanks for listening, you guys.
Thanks so much, y'all.
All right.
Bye now.
Talk to you later.
Officially Fenner thanks you for joining us.
Please subscribe and hit that like button.